And so one thing that has been made abundantly clear is that Democrats have bent the knee to the socialists that have taken over their party, ladies and gentlemen. All but a few. And one of those few is John Fetterman, who is actually calling it like it is, while Mamdani is out here taking victory laps, bragging about the so-called goodness of socialism and acting like government control and taxing the rich is the answer to every problem capitalism supposedly failed to solve. And so that's what we're about to get into, because Mamdani has been selling socialism as the future of the Democratic Party, and they fell for a hook, line, and sinker, while Fetterman is doing what Democrat leaders like Hakeem Jeffries refused to do. And so, as always, smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way to let me know you enjoy the content. For more, subscribe to the channel. Let's start right here.
It was a really big night for the dirtbag left, last week, without a doubt. And some of the crazy things that they've said, like clearly anti-America, anti-Western civilization. And they actually, one of them was even part of the groups. They wanted to end all Western civilization. So overall, that's a wing of the party without a doubt. But they're not Democrats. They're not socialists. Many of them are an avowed communist. So between P. Hustle in Maine and some of the other winners, in New York, they should form their own party and run on all the things that they've had to delete on social media overall.
That's John Fetterman doing what the Democrat leaders, the so-called Democrat leaders of his party, the Chuck Schumers, the Hakeem Jeffries, what they refuse to do. Actually stand up and oppose these people, the socialists who are coming into their party and at this point have now ransacked the place, taken over. Fetterman has been one of the very few Democrats who have been outspoken about the socialists, who have come in and tried to sanitize their language of communism in order to gain favor with the American people, in order to infiltrate and gain favor with Democrats, which they've done, ladies and gentlemen. They've done that job and it's kaput now. They've infiltrated, and now Democrats have basically said, we're going along with socialism because our leaders didn't really have a plan for us anyway, besides Trump we hate. And so Zohran Mamdani and his socialist agenda have given the Democrats a platform, no matter how terrible a platform and an agenda it is. And so John Fetterman is calling out Democrats for how they have been embracing Dadalisa Chevalier. That is one of the Mamdani endorsed candidates. And John Fetterman is pointing out how she was praising communist dictators. Check this out.
I mean, she was praising Kim and Stalin. I mean, between those two men, 100 million, people murdered, like some of the most evil and terrible people, in the world or in history. And she was praising them, saying we don't have enough of their books, in our libraries. And of course, she deleted those things. But this is not ancient history. This is all recent views that people like this we are electing. And on this network, I've described it. I think it was with Jesse. I said, our party's becoming an orgy of socialism. And I think I've been vindicated to see the way these elections are working out.
Okay, so let's go ahead and break down what just happened right here. I mean, John Fetterman, he isn't a Republican. He isn't a far right winger. He's not a Trump supporter. John Fetterman is a Democrat. If anything, it would be in his political favor. It would be in his best interest for his political career for him to actually go along with everything happening right now in his party, because that's the way the train is going, ladies and gentlemen. There's only a handful, 13 Democrats who are actually standing up against what's happening in their party. You have the Democrat leaders, the so-called Democratic leaders, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, none of them actually standing up, speaking out against this, all going along with the same language, big tent party, we're a party of diversity, all of that soft language that says basically we'll accept anybody if it means we can defeat Trump, we don't care. And here you have John Fetterman, who is standing up, raising his hand and saying, no, I'm a Democrat. And I actually respect this because, hey, we can have our differences as far as conservatives, liberals, Republican, Democrat, but if your ideology is a Democrat, then it should probably align with what a Democrat is. And what's happening right now, that's not what a Democrat is, ladies and gentlemen. I think we all can be honest about that as far as things go. This is something else, and it's pretty clear what it is. Socialism and beyond. So Fetterman is shooting himself in the leg politically because of where the party's headed and his refusal to actually just go along with everything that's been happening, and he's speaking out. And when you compare that, what you just heard from John Fetterman, to this clip of Walmart Obama himself, Temu Obama, Discount Rack Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, who is always, whenever you ask him anything, stuck on TDS mode, it's no wonder why the Democrat Party has been taken over. Check this out.
Can you set expectations for tomorrow's races in Colorado, particularly CD1 with Diana DeGetsy? Do you believe she's capable of winning? And what does it say that her race is very close in terms of, this challenge against incumbents by Democratic Socialists?
It's a close race, and we'll see what happens. Ultimately, it'll be in the hands of the people of Denver. But the reality is we have an unsettled electoral environment, which is going to be the case when Donald Trump is president.
And so notice the language that Hakeem Jeffries is using right there, because it's a direct result of his Trump derangement syndrome. He is essentially saying that Democrats have been taken over by the socialists because Trump is the president. And so that's why it happened. They came into the party, ransacked the place, taken over, and now we're going with their agenda because Trump is the president. That's how bad the Trump derangement syndrome is, ladies and gentlemen. And that brings us to our next clip, which has Zohran Mamdani. This comes after New York City was finally able to settle on a $126 billion budget for the city, ladies and gentlemen. And so they had all the public officials out, including Zohran Mamdani, as they were celebrating this momentous occasion of finally coming to an agreement on this astronomical budget. Check this out.
All else, this budget offers a roadmap for the years to come. This is only the first budget of our administration. Many more will follow, and every budget that follows will build on the principles established here: honest budgeting, fiscal discipline, transparent government, and an unwavering belief that working people deserve a city hall that delivers for them every single day. We will return to this budget as a reminder of how much more is made possible when we shake off the shackles of the status quo and pursue the transformative change that New Yorkers deserve. That means finding efficiencies, it means cutting waste, and it means taxing the rich. We will return to this budget when we are told, as we so often are, that we must budget with austerity rather than ambition. And we will return to this budget as a model of how to invest in our city, how to place working people at the heart of our political decisions, and how to govern with an enduring commitment.
I have to laugh because Mamdani is speaking of being fiscally disciplined, while the New York City budget went from $116 billion last year to $126 billion this year under his leadership so far. Yeah, that's real fiscal discipline right there. And so you got Mamdani poking his chest out a little bit right here. But the reality is he got a bailout from Albany. Kathy Hochul, they bailed him out with extra money to help cover the budget. That's number one. Number two is that they kicked the can down the road. The comptroller of New York City has mentioned that the tactics that Mamdani decided to use to balance the budget actually only kicks the can down the road for the long term while making it look good on the books for the short term. And the budget's only going to get bigger, ladies and gentlemen, because he has social programs to take care of people in New York City who aren't taking care of themselves. And more people will get on these programs. More people will sign up for them year after year after year. You can guarantee that, which means it's going to require, somebody help me out with this one. It starts with a T. More taxpayer dollars, right? And one of the things that wasn't even on the budget was the free buses, ladies and gentlemen. And that's something that a reporter brought to Mamdani's attention. And take a listen to how he answered. Check it out.
I'm wondering if you see this fair fares expansion as an acceptable alternate path to free buses. Are you still committed to doing that in 4 years? And then for Speaker Menon, I wonder if you agree with the mayor's sentiment early in his remarks that essentially paraphrasing here, socialists can solve the problems of capitalism and work to end the mismanagement under Adams. Do you think socialism is the solution here?
I'll say on the first question, when I was running for mayor, I spoke about the importance of raising eligibility to 200% of the federal poverty level. And this does that. We raise this fair fares eligibility to a historic amount. And we also do so while being fully committed to delivering buses that are not only fast, but also free. And that is part of our medium-term vision, our long-term vision. And we do this because we want to ensure that in the nation's most expensive city, there is no one that is priced out of exploring their own city and traveling, whether it be for work, whether it be to visit family, or whether it just be for fun. And we can believe and fight for all of these things at the same time.
Yeah, so Mamdani dangling the carrot of, yeah, we're going to still fight for free buses. But my read on that situation is those buses are never going to be free. The budget is at $126 billion. It's a $10 billion increase from last year. That's without the free buses. That's with already being able to get money from the state, additional money from the state. You think you're going to be able to pull off free buses too? At some point, this whole socialism, it'll take care of everything. It's going to have to actually answer the question of who's going to pay for this. I'm just saying. But according to Mamdani, socialism is going to be the solver of all the problems capitalism failed to solve. Take a listen.
And we raise taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers instead of taking more from those with the least. Throughout this process, I've been reminded of the words of the Austrian economist Friedrich Hayek. If socialists understood economics, they wouldn't be socialists. If these past months have shown us anything, it is that socialists not only understand economics just as well as the capitalists who came before, but that we can solve their years of mismanagement through an embrace of our principles.
I'm not quite sure what he means by principles that are going to solve this issue that capitalism wasn't able to solve, according to him. Does he mean the principle that punishes you if you're more successful financially by saying, we're going to tax you. You make too much money. We should tax you more. Take away some of your wealth. And do you notice how none of this seems to revolve around business growth, the private sector, entrepreneurship? That seems to be a missing element from all of this. Everything that Mamdani and his socialist agenda stands for is about how government can step in, about how government can take control, about how government can solve the issues of the everyday person. Just a little something I noticed is never about empowering the individual to do better in order to make something better for themselves. It's about how the government can solve your issue and make your life better. And we should trust that because government is so great when it comes to managing money. Not really, right? Which boggles the mind how people believe that somehow giving government more power, that's the solution. But let's jump into the Stephen A. clip where he's speaking about how they ended up here. Lack of leadership with Sean Hannity. Check it out.
When you look at the Democratic Party right now, you're right in pointing out what you're pointing about. Somebody's got to stand up and fight. They don't seem to have the sizzle, the cachet, the ability to communicate with the voters the way Mamdani does right now.
Where are they? Who are they?
Again, I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. I mean, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'll be the first to admit it. No wonder they've been talking about me because, damn it, you don't see anybody. I'm looking for somebody within the Democratic Party to step up
and
to galvanize the troops.
What does that say about Chuck Schumer? What does that say about Hakeem Jeffries? What does that say about the Clintons?
Listen. First of all, you're talking about people who have been around quite a long time. And when you're looking at California and you're looking at New York specifically, as we're talking about this, there's a lot of young voters out there. Anything, you know how to get them all? Talk about free. Free. Let's be real about something here. You have a whole bunch of people in office that's scared to lose their seats, and you've got Democratic voters that are leaning towards voting for these people. And so as a result, they got to figure out a way to get those people back on their side. They're not going to vote Republican. They're going to vote Democrat. But if Mamdani is running as a Democrat, even though he's a Democratic socialist, and he's preaching about affordability, okay, and the working class, that's something that they want to hear because they're the ones that feel left out right now. And so that's what the message is, whether it's him or the people that he endorses. Remember, the people that Hakeem Jeffries endorsed lost to the people that Mamdani endorsed. So obviously he's gaining traction. his profile, his cachet, his significance is growing, and nobody can ignore that. So as a result, how are you going to deal with that?
And so let's break down what Stephen A. is talking about right here, because what's really going on, what these individuals, what the socialists are doing, why they've been able to be so successful is not complicated. They're telling the people what they want to hear. I mean, that works for people who actually will believe in, like the Easter Bunny and, Santa Claus past the age of 10. That stuff, if you're still going to believe in that stuff as an adult, then sure, here goes some magic beans. Plant them in a tree with money will grow. I mean, you could tell these people that at this point and they will believe it almost seems like, because that's literally what they're pretty much expecting by going along with this agenda. Really. Socialists are telling them, we'll take care of you, just give us power. We'll tax the people who are doing so much better in life because it's their fault that you are struggling, just give us power. They have so much, you deserve what they have, just give us power. All of this revolves around making the people who you want to support you feel like, the reason why your life is so hard, because someone else got their foot on your neck and they're the reason why you suck at life. But the reality is, let's be honest, there's a lot of people who suck at life because they just suck at life, ladies and gentlemen. Harsh reality, I know, but it's true. And when you got the demographics they have of these people who joined the Democrat Socialist movement, the college-educated white liberal, let's just call it what it is. It's others in the group too, but they seem to always be in the front lines, right, ladies and gentlemen? They kind of come off as the type who feel entitled and feel like, oh, I got my college degree now. I'm supposed to just have doors open and life is supposed to be grand. And why do I have to struggle? And I want to live in the most expensive city in America, but it shouldn't be expensive. I want to be able to, have my $1,000 phone and also wear my, expensive designer clothes and shoes. But then I also want to make sure I can also live this life of luxury and only work 25, 30 hours a week. I mean, make it make sense. That's my rant of the day, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go to Democrat Jay Powell, who says socialism is popular. And that's why Trump is calling it communism. Check this out.
They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about.
I mean, he is ridiculous, but the reason he's using communism is because he knows socialism is really popular. So he's trying to turn this into communism when he knows that the ideas that social democrats are running on, that progressives are running on, universal health care, universal child care, making sure that people get paid higher wages, those are incredibly popular. So he's trying to attach an ideology to it, a label that isn't correct.
So what you have right here is another Democrat saying that Trump is referring to it as communism because socialism is just so popular now. What's really interesting is when you listen to the language, they used to make a concentrated effort to call it democratic socialism. And now slowly they're just calling it socialism. If you've been paying attention to some of the newscast and everything like that, they're slowly starting to just say the word socialism by itself. That's a little something that you should just pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen. Nonetheless, it's because it's so popular now. It's all the craze. She's talking about it like it's the latest TikTok dance. Like socialism is really popular now. And so Trump, he wants to call it something that is not because he doesn't like that it's popular. I mean, really? Is that what we're doing right now? Maybe it's because, socialism really doesn't work. And when you think about it, Democrats can never name a place that socialism actually has been successful. Or how about this one? Name people from a capitalist society. I mean, we got plenty of them here in this country. They seem to never want to run towards countries that are already practicing socialism in some way, shape, or form. That seems to not happen. And so check this out.
Reason that Donald Trump has to pivot from saying socialist to saying communist now is because socialism is actually quite popular. These ideas, whether you call it socialism or not, they are very popular across the country. So he's got to attach a new label to it. But I'm not concerned. We're all going to be here fighting for the things that that we are for and that we want to deliver for working people.
So is socialism the end goal for progressives at this point?
The end goal is delivering for working people. Universal health care, universal child care, housing investments, a housing bill, by the way, the most consequential in a generation that the president says is a yawn and is unimportant. It is so disrespectful of the things that are happening. And I think, frankly, that that's why there's so much support for many of these candidates across the country.
You just said socialism. Congressman, you just said socialism is very popular. Can you name one socialist country that ended well?
There's plenty of examples of how these policies make a real difference. And I'm excited to make sure that Americans have the access to them. Thank you. Yeah.
And so I'm going to go ahead and leave it right here. These people are dangerous and they can't be trusted. They use very deceitful, misleading, manipulative language. Working people, that's the thing they like to use now. Working class people, democratic socialism, slowly becoming socialism now. And so it's deceitful language that allows you to pull your guard down and get comfortable. And not to mention, they also, they give you somebody to point the finger to. It's not your fault. It's the person who's been able to be successful. It's their fault. They shouldn't make so much money. And so they're coming in and saying, we'll solve your issues that government is supposed to solve. And the reality is they should be empowering people through entrepreneurship, through business growth, through the private sector, through things that allow them to be able to stand on their own and be less dependent on government rather than more. But those are my thoughts in the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comment down below. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Don't forget you enjoy the content. Smash that thumbs up for more. Subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.